If two people are truly meant to find their way back to each other, there is one powerful pattern that appears again and again. It does not matter how different their backgrounds are, how far apart their lives become, or how unexpected their connection may seem. There is always a sign that appears before everything else begins to unfold. Most people have a very different idea of what destiny looks like. They imagine destiny arriving in a perfect and beautiful way. They believe it comes with instant happiness, effortless love, and a feeling that everything has finally become clear. They picture two people meeting for the first time, looking into each other's eyes, and immediately knowing that they have found the person they were waiting for. But real destiny rarely enters your life in such a simple way. Real destiny often arrives quietly, but instead of creating comfort immediately, it creates change. It does not always bring peace in the beginning. Sometimes it brings confusion, sometimes it creates challenges, sometimes it shakes the foundation of everything you thought you knew. When two people are genuinely connected on a deeper level, life does not always bring them together instantly. Instead, it often creates space between them. It creates distance, delays, and moments where both people are forced to look within themselves. It challenges their beliefs, exposes their fears, and reveals the parts of themselves they still need to heal. This is not because destiny wants to separate them forever. It is because destiny understands that some connections require growth before they can become stable. Some people meet each other before they are ready for each other. They feel the connection, but they do not yet have the emotional strength, awareness, or maturity to protect it. And this is the part many people misunderstand. They think separation means the connection was fake. They think distance means the love was not real. But sometimes distance is exactly what allows two people to become the versions of themselves they need to become. If you believe that two souls can be connected beyond ordinary circumstances, take a moment to reflect on this. Because before two people who are truly meant for each other can build something lasting, they often have to go through a transformation first. When two people are truly meant to share a meaningful bond, one thing almost always happens before they fully come together. They experience a period of awakening. Many people expect destined love to feel easy from the very beginning. They believe the right person will remove every doubt, solve every problem, and make life feel effortless. But deep connections do not always begin with comfort. They often begin with recognition. Recognition is the first sign of a powerful connection. It is the strange feeling that someone understands something about you before you have even explained it. It is the feeling that their presence reaches a part of you that most people never see. You may not immediately feel completely safe. You may not have all the answers. You may even question why this person affects you so deeply. But something inside you reacts before your logical mind can explain it. You feel noticed. You feel understood. You feel as though someone has seen a hidden part of you that you normally keep protected from the outside world. This can feel overwhelming because most people believe love should only bring peace and security. They expect a meaningful connection to feel calm from the first moment. But sometimes the strongest connections create discomfort because they reveal things you have been avoiding. A person who deeply affects you may reflect your fears, your insecurities, your emotional wounds, and the parts of yourself you still need to heal. They do not only show you the beautiful parts of yourself, they also reveal the areas where you still need growth. This is why certain connections feel intense. They do not simply make you happy, they make you aware, they force you to see yourself more clearly, they bring transformation before they bring stability. A person who is truly significant in your life often becomes a mirror. They show you your patterns, your fears, and your emotional habits. They reveal where you have been settling, where you have been ignoring your own needs, and where you have been searching for love outside yourself. That is why destined connections are not always easy at the beginning. They are not designed only to make you comfortable. They are designed to help you evolve. And this is also why many people who are meant to be together do not stay together immediately. Sometimes life separates them because both individuals still have lessons to learn. The timing may not be right. One person may still be carrying pain from the past. One person may still fear vulnerability. One person may not yet understand their own value. One person may still be looking for someone else to complete them instead of learning how to become whole within themselves. Sometimes both people have love for each other, but they are still emotionally unprepared. They may have good intentions, but unresolved wounds can create distance even between two people who genuinely care. Two incomplete people can unintentionally hurt each other. Two people who have not healed can turn a beautiful connection into a painful experience. That is why life sometimes creates separation. It is almost as if life is saying, "Not yet." Not because the connection is wrong, but because the foundation is not strong enough yet. If they came together too soon, they might destroy something that could have become something beautiful. They might allow fear, insecurity, or old habits to control a relationship that needed patience and growth. The separation may feel painful, but it can also be a form of preparation. It is not always a rejection. Sometimes it is redirection. Sometimes it is life giving two people the opportunity to become stronger before bringing them back together. When two people with a deep connection are separated, the pain often feels different from ordinary heartbreak. It is not only sadness, it is confusion. It feels like something is missing that you cannot fully explain. It feels like you lost a part of your direction. You do not only miss the person, you miss the version of yourself that existed when you were connected to them. This happens because powerful connections often touch something deeper than the surface level. They are not only connected to emotions, they are connected to personal growth and self-discovery. When someone leaves your life and their presence continues to affect you, it often pushes you inward. It forces you to examine yourself in ways you never expected. You begin to notice your fear of being abandoned. You begin to recognize how often you searched for approval from others. You start seeing the moments when you gave too much of yourself just to keep someone close. You become aware of the times you ignored your own feelings, sacrificed your own happiness, or avoided facing your emotional needs. These realizations can be uncomfortable, but they are powerful. The pain is not there to destroy you. The pain is there to awaken something inside you. A meaningful connection has the ability to transform you silently. Even when there is no conversation, even when there is distance, even when there is complete silence, something inside you begins to shift. Even when your mind tells you to forget and move forward, your experience with that person may continue teaching you important lessons. You become more aware of who you are. You become more conscious of what you deserve. You become more careful about the energy and people you allow into your life. You begin setting stronger boundaries. You stop accepting things that once felt normal. Situations you used to tolerate start feeling exhausting. Relationships built only on attention or temporary comfort no longer satisfy you. You begin searching for something deeper. You stop wanting connections that only make you feel wanted for a moment. You start craving something meaningful, something honest, something that feels emotionally real. The person who awakened these changes in you may have entered your life for a reason. Whether they stay forever or become a chapter that changed you, their impact can remain because they helped you discover a deeper version of yourself. And sometimes, the greatest sign that a connection was meaningful is not that it never faced challenges. The greatest sign is that it changed you. Because true connections do not only bring another person into your life, they bring you closer to yourself. They reveal the parts of you that were waiting to heal. They awaken emotions you were afraid to face. They encourage you to become someone stronger, wiser, and more complete. And when two people have truly grown, when both have learned the lessons they needed to learn, when both have become emotionally ready, life has a way of creating new possibilities. Because what is truly meant for you does not always arrive when you want it. Sometimes it arrives when you are finally ready to receive it. The distance, the waiting, the uncertainty, and the transformation all become part of the journey. And that is the pattern that often appears before two people who are truly meant for each other finally come together. They do not simply find each other. They become the people who are ready for each other. Often, you do not even notice that this personal growth is connected to that one person. Yet the transformation began the moment they stepped into your life. They became a catalyst. They awakened something within you and started a process of change that was already waiting to happen. A connection like this does not create obsession. Instead, it creates awareness and reflection. You do not spend every moment lost in thoughts about them. Rather, you begin looking deeper into your own life, your habits, your emotional patterns, and the choices you continue to make. You start questioning who you truly are and who you are becoming. You begin asking yourself powerful questions. Why do I love the way I love? Why do I fear emotional closeness? Why have I accepted things that were below what I truly deserve? Why have I ignored parts of myself just to keep someone else in my life? Slowly, these questions begin changing you from within. They reshape your beliefs, your standards, and the way you understand love. Destined connections often work in ways that are invisible at first. Sometimes that person may no longer be present in your everyday life, but the effect they created inside you remains. They change the way you view relationships. They change the way you understand yourself. They raise your expectations not only of the people you allow into your life, but also of the way you treat yourself. They teach you that love is not only about staying beside someone. Love is also about becoming complete within yourself. Over time, you begin to realize that you no longer want to repeat the same emotional patterns. You stop pursuing people who cannot give you the emotional presence you need. You stop overlooking warning signs just because you want to feel chosen. You begin choosing peace, honesty, respect, and equal effort. This growth may have come from difficult experiences, but it carries a powerful lesson. And that is how you recognize that the connection had a deeper purpose. Destined love is rarely the loudest thing in your life. It does not always remain in the form you expected. Sometimes it enters your world, transforms you, and then creates distance. Sometimes it leaves because you need time to become the person who can truly receive and maintain the kind of love you desire. Whether that person returns or not is not always the most important part of the journey. The real purpose was the awakening, the transformation, and the movement toward a deeper and more conscious way of living and loving. When two people are genuinely connected on a deeper level, their story does not always move in a straight direction. It can pass through separation, uncertainty, confusion, and periods of personal growth. The distance becomes a space where both individuals are forced to evolve before they can experience something greater. And there is one pattern that appears again and again. You often think about them during the moments when you are becoming more aware of yourself. You remember them during times when you are quietly changing from the inside. You think of them during peaceful nights when the outside world becomes silent and your inner thoughts become stronger. You think about them during emotional breakthroughs, during those unexpected moments when you suddenly understand something about yourself that you had never recognized before. You are not thinking about them because you are simply lonely. You are not thinking about them because you need someone to validate your worth. You are thinking about them because something within you understands that the connection carried significance and that significance has not completely settled within your heart yet. Your inner self recognizes lessons that still need to be understood. It recognizes that something important was awakened through meeting this person. This is not weakness. This is not unhealthy attachment. This is not the kind of obsession people often describe. This is integration. It is your inner world trying to understand where that experience belongs. It is your mind and heart processing what happened, absorbing what it taught you, and recognizing how deeply it influenced your growth. A meaningful connection does not simply disappear because time passes. It remains in subtle ways. It appears when you grow. It appears when you heal. It appears when you finally move beyond old versions of yourself. That is because the connection was never only about romance. It was about transformation. It was about discovering parts of yourself that were waiting to be awakened. Type yes if you want me to reveal the hidden truth about destined love. Many people wonder why a connection like this feels impossible to replace. They try to move forward. They meet new people. They begin different relationships. They fill their days with conversations, responsibilities, activities, and distractions. They convince themselves that moving on means completely forgetting. Sometimes they even believe they have finally succeeded. Their life appears normal again. They smile. They spend time with others. They continue moving forward. But deep beneath the surface, something still feels unfinished. There is a quiet emptiness that remains. Not because the new person is not good enough. Not because the new relationship lacks kindness or effort. It exists because the new connection does not awaken the same depth within them. It does not touch the same hidden parts of their heart. It does not challenge the same areas of their soul. A destined connection does not compete with other relationships. It exists on an entirely different level. This kind of bond is not created only through attraction. It is not just excitement, chemistry, or comfort. It is something much deeper. It is about evolution. It is about becoming more truthful with yourself. It is about facing the parts of your personality, your fears, and your emotional wounds that you may have avoided for years. Destiny often works on two people separately before bringing them back into each other's lives. The distance between them is not always a punishment. Sometimes it is a lesson. Sometimes it is a classroom where both people are being prepared through experiences they never expected. While you are apart, life begins shaping both of you in different ways, often through challenges and uncomfortable moments. One person begins learning the importance of boundaries. They learn how to say no without feeling guilty. They learn how to stop constantly giving when nothing is being returned. They discover that love should never require losing themselves. They understand that choosing their own happiness and well-being is not selfish, it is necessary. The other person begins learning responsibility and emotional awareness. They begin understanding that silence can create pain. They realize that avoiding emotions does not make those emotions disappear. They discover that every action creates consequences, even when their intentions were misunderstood. They discovered that a true connection always comes with responsibility. One person begins learning the importance of self-respect. They stop mistaking uncertainty for love. They stop holding on to situations where answers never come. They finally understand that consistency is not a luxury in love. It is a necessity. The other person begins learning emotional bravery. They learn how to remain present when things feel uncomfortable instead of escaping. They learn how to face their emotions rather than avoiding the vulnerability that comes with genuine connection. One person learns the difficult lesson of releasing the need to chase. They understand that love cannot be demanded, controlled, or created through constant effort from one side. They realize that pursuing someone who is emotionally unavailable only creates an imbalance that leads to exhaustion and hurt. The other person learns the opposite lesson, how to stop running away. They begin to see that creating distance does not truly protect them from losing someone. It only postpones the personal growth they need to experience. Both individuals are evolving, even though neither of them can fully recognize the transformation happening beneath the surface yet. And this is intentional. If they understood every detail too early, the process of growth would be interrupted. The unknown creates the necessary space for change. It allows both souls to develop separately before they can understand what their connection truly means. If destiny has ever separated you from someone you believed was meant for you, remember this. Before two people who are deeply connected can come back together, the illusions surrounding their relationship must first disappear. Life slowly removes the beliefs that were built on fear rather than truth. It often happens through difficult experiences, through moments that challenge everything you thought you understood about love. The beliefs that love should always be effortless must fall away. The belief that someone who truly cares will never leave must be questioned. The idea that love has to be proven through suffering must be released. The belief that another person exists to complete the parts of you that feel empty must also be transformed. These thoughts may feel comforting because they create the illusion of security, but they often prevent people from experiencing authentic love. They create emotional dependence. They create anxiety. They create expectations that no human being can realistically carry forever. So life removes these illusions. It does not always do this gently. Sometimes transformation arrives through silence. Sometimes it arrives through separation. Sometimes it arrives through disappointment and moments where you have no choice but to sit alone with your own thoughts. And during those quiet moments, something powerful begins to happen. You start seeing yourself more honestly. You begin noticing patterns you ignored before. You begin recognizing the moments when you abandoned your own needs just to keep someone else close. You start understanding the places where you searched for love outside of yourself because you had not yet learned how to give that love inward. You discover that love was never meant to rescue you. Another person was never meant to repair every wound you carried. A relationship cannot heal the parts of yourself that you refuse to face. True connection begins when two complete individuals choose to share their lives, not when two wounded people depend on each other to survive. If you are experiencing a separation that feels deeper than ordinary distance, share this message with someone who needs to hear it. There comes a moment when something quietly changes inside you. You stop feeling desperate for their presence. You stop searching endlessly for signs. You stop waiting for a single message, a single phone call, or a single moment that you believe will suddenly fix everything. You stop hoping they will return just so you can finally feel whole again. And strangely enough, that moment does not come with anger. It does not come with bitterness. It arrives with peace. This is often when life begins shifting again. Not because you forced anything to happen, not because you tried harder to make someone choose you, but because you released the need to control the outcome. Real love is not built on emotional dependence. Real love is built on freedom and conscious choice. When two people are capable of standing on their own, when love becomes something they desire rather than something they need for survival, true alignment becomes possible. If they return as different people. They return with greater awareness. They return with the emotional capacity to create something deeper, healthier, and more meaningful than before. And if they never return, the lesson still remains. The transformation still happened. You are no longer the same person who entered that connection. You have become stronger. You have gained clarity. You have developed a deeper sense of yourself. You have learned the lessons that experience was meant to teach you. That is the deeper meaning behind destined connections. They are not about owning another person. They are not about holding on to someone at any cost. They are about growth, awakening, and transformation. They enter your life not always to remain in the exact form you imagined, but to awaken something within you. They come to challenge you, to change you, and to guide you toward a deeper understanding of love, self-worth, emotional maturity, and inner growth.